Sir, our chairman sir and director sir also has joined the meeting right now.
Okay.
I would take this opportunity to introduce our chairman sir. Sir, Shiva sir, you are online?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Right, sir. Sir. So there's our chairman sir and Chairman Dr. Y. Koteshwara sir and Director Mr.
Hello, sir. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice meeting you, Dr. Rajgopal.
Same here, sir.
Sir, I request Chairman sir Koteshwara sir, can you say a few words about this?
So, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
A warm welcome to Dr. Rajgopal, USF Pharmaceuticals PSA, who is the director and working as an R&D. I'm very much proud to say that House College of Pharmacy, established in 2004 in Nellore. It is the first and foremost college in Nellore district. At present, there are 11 pharmacy colleges. Out of that, House College of Pharmacy is the first and foremost college. We have almost completed 16 academic years. We have sent almost 12 batches of B Pharmacy students and 8 batches of 10 batches of M Pharmacy students, and Doctor of Pharmacy, nearly 6 to 7 batches we have completed. And we are very much proud that we have got 6 doctorates in our faculty. I am very much proud of our principal, Dr. V. Gunasekaran, and Dr. G. Avinash Shetty, who is the present organizing secretary conducting this webinar. I am very much proud of our total faculty members and very much proud of our students. Every year, consequently, they are getting university ranks and very good percentage. And I give warm welcome to Dr. Gopal Garu to conduct this webinar on generic development, on generic medicines. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir.
So that was a quite brief introduction of the college. Thanks for that. Yeah, as you know, today the topic of the seminar, the webinar is generic product development, and it emphasizes on the rules and regulations in the US to process the generic drugs after the lapsing of patents. And you all know the doctors prefer a lot of generic drugs in Indian market also. So the speaker is going to emphasize all that on the approval process, how we are going to get into the generic market as a new company, and as an established company, how we are going to launch your generic products, and so on. We'll continue with that. Before that, I request our principal sir, Gunasekaran sir, to give a brief introduction about the speaker.
Thank you, Avinash sir. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to deliver address of our Dr. Rajagopal Karpuswamy, M.Pharm PhD. He did B.Pharm and M Pharmacy in Tamil Nadu Dr. M.G.R. Medical University, and completed his PhD from prestigious university, Delhi University. And he was worked in the academic first. For 8 years he was worked as an academician, and then he entered into the research activities. He is having totally 12 years experience in industry. So including US, Europe, Brazil, Mexico, marketed companies, he worked as a different field. And he worked as a very good position in Shawshan Pharmaceuticals and Zydus Cadila as a deputy general manager and head of formulation analytical development before moving to Nessor Pharmaceutical USA. It is also a part of the Zydus Cadila company, and Nessor now at present is working as a director and head of analytical R&D involved in development of generic products, especially for the treatment of ADHD. And he is having multiple role in the academic activities also. He is a membership of APTI and Association of American Association of Pharmaceutical Scientists, that is AAPS, and he published many impact factor, highly impact journals, international journals, more than 20 he have in his credit, and he is having totally 290 plus citation, and it is contributed form in the USP and NF monograph so far. And he is having the role of editorial board members, particularly Journal of Pharmaceutics and Drug Research and Universe Scientific Publishing. It is an international open access. And he has another role, so he acts as a reviewer of many international journals. I will read two or three. So he is having more than 10 or 15 is there. So I read main things, that is American Journal of Analytical Chemistry and Drug Discovery and Therapeutics, International Journal of Molecular Sciences, and International Journal of Biochemistry Research and Review. So he is having many more multiple activities. So due to the short time duration, I stop here and I welcome on behalf of my management and on behalf of myself and on behalf of my faculty and on behalf of all my delegates who are registered today with through online, not through phone also. I am very happy and thankful to all the registered candidates all over India, because I received some registration from senior most person like Mr. William Gary is also, it is there. We'll talk later, because he is the senior most person. He is a former president of APTA of Andhra Pradesh. So we are very happy for our invitation. They are all are considered our seminar, international seminar. So it is one of the achievement. I hope that because of my faculty and my management, my director sir and chairman sir, without their support, we can't do anything. So now let me go for our main session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that. It's a quite bunch of roles that the speaker is playing right now. Simply speaking, he's a big head in pharmacy. I can say that. Sir, Gopal sir, you may please continue with the session.
Sure. Thank you, Avinash.
Thanks, sir.
And first and foremost, I would like to thank Guna sir for your nice introduction, as well as, other than that, as a principal, I thank Guna sir and chairman sir, director Avinash Shetty, the entire faculty team of Rao's College of Pharmacy. I really thank for giving me this opportunity to interact with this gathering. And I'm taking this as an opportunity to thank one more side. Dr. Gunasegaran was my teacher, and he showed me the path for where I am here. So I really thankful to him, and it is my pleasure to be here at this Rao's College of Pharmacy. So I right now I will share my slides and start my. Avinash, is the slides are visible, Avinash?
Yes, sir. It is good, sir. We can see that.
So my topic of today's presentation is generic pharmaceutical product development and overview. So today I have put together the slides for starting from how the product is identified to make a generic product, and what are all the different steps involved in developing and manufacturing, getting approval and launching the product into the market, and the involvement of USFDA with respect to review of the dossier and inspections. So I have put together the whole process, but mostly my presentation would cover the US market. since I am working for quite some time with the US market, so I have presented completely about the US generics. So first, what is generic products? So for any indications, for any disease, for any drug is available in the market, the first product which the company launches, that is called brand product or innovator product or the reference listed product. So otherwise we can call it as a new drug applications, NDA. So those are called brand or brand or reference listed drugs, abbreviated as RLD. So now what is generic products? Drug products which are comparable to the brand, reference or the innovator product, they are called generic products. So now what is the difference between the brand product and the generic product? So as I said, brand product we can call it as NDA. Generic products, it is been abbreviated as abbreviated new drug application, which is ANDA. If you look at this table, there are 11 items. Out of 11, 8 items are same for both brand as well as generics, starting from labeling, pharmacology, toxicology, chemistry, manufacturing, controls, microbiology, inspection, testing. With respect to FDA's view, for both brand and generic products are viewed same from the FDA perspective. But the three line items, animal studies, clinical studies, bioavailability are associated with new drug applications or with the brand products. With the generic products, only the bioequivalence studies are conducted. That is the huge difference between the NDA and ANDA. So generally, to make an NDA, it takes about 7 to 10 years, and the success rate is very less in compared to the generic, where the success rate would be mostly 60-70%, I would say. So hence, most of the companies are making the generic products rather making the new drug applications. Now, why is generic products? In 2017 itself, savings from the generics in US totaled 265 billion. So that was basically the money. So the cost of the product, the brand product, is very high in comparison to the generic products. So that is the reason generic products are playing a very critical role in US. I have given one particular product example just to compare the price and what is that will give you, instead of going with 265 million in a year. I have given a simple product where we have the generic product in the market. So this is Tamiflu. The brand name is Tamiflu. It is used for the treatment of influenza. The drug present in this particular product is oseltamivir phosphate. It is an antiviral drug. So even in this situation, COVID-19 situation, this is also one of the medications prescribed along with other drugs. So this product is manufactured by Genentech, US. So the cost of this particular brand product is $305. In Indian money, if I convert it, it will be around 22,000. Where we have our own product, which is that there will be no brand drug. It is a generic drug. So oseltamivir phosphate for oral suspension. You can see the label Zydus. So this product cost is $47. So in Indian money, it would be around 4,000. So that is the difference between the brand product price and the generic product price. I take this opportunity to let this crowd know, like we were the Nesher Pharmaceuticals, part of Zydus Cadila. We were the first to get the generic product approval for this particular product. Around the world, there are 300 pharmaceutical companies who makes generic product. I'm proudly saying that we are the first to get this generic product approval. And especially in the winter season, the flu is very high. The number of people infected with the flu is very high, and there is always a demand for this product in US. Now, on the generic product, where to find these generic products? If you go to the USFDA website, or in general, just in Google, put Orange Book you will see a lot of information about the generic products. So why this book is called Orange Book? When they were printing, the book was in orange color. Hence, it is called as an Orange Book. Whatever the drug you want to search for, just in Orange Book website, like in Google, just put Orange Book. You will see an USFDA page opening. Then that will give you an option to search for the drug. You can search with the brand name or with the generic name. You will find how many drugs are approved. For example, if you put vasultamivir phosphate, it will give two different formulations are available in the market. One is capsule, other one is powder for oral suspension. That is the first table. If you come to the second one, where how many generic players are there in the market, what are all the companies? So currently for this suspension product, there are 5 companies available in the market. So Alvogen, Amneal, Lupin, Nesher, and Teva. So these are all the 5 companies makes generic product for this Tamiflu. So this website will give you the entire details, how many products, what kind of dosage form, all the information would be given in this website. Now, generic product identification. How the companies start doing the identify the products on what basis? So generally, this is decided by the business development team or portfolio team. Generally, at US, New Jersey or New York, they will have this business development at portfolio team. They will decide what kind of product the company should be making. So the factors considered for this is, sales. What is the sales and what is the volume of the product and how many competitors are there in the market? So by looking at this and what is the patent, when the patent will get expired, or what is the exclusivity expiry, and how easy the product is to be developed, how easy the manufacturing, because once it is developed, we need to make it very consistently in a large scale. So how easy the manufacturing of a particular product, and in order to make a product, the main ingredient is your active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is API. So that cost and the source from where it is coming and what is the cost of it. So these are all the few factors, critical factors, which gives a business development team to select a particular generic product. Now, once the product is identified, who are all the product development contributors in the pharmaceutical R&D? So first and foremost, this is a formulation development department, then the analytical development or AR&D department, and the intellectual property rights team, regulatory affairs team, and the quality assurance team. So these are all the 5 major teams which always involved in the product development of the generic. So along with this, I have just put together where the pharmacy graduates or even non-pharma graduates can take as a pharmaceutical industry as a career. So in formulation development department, always people from pharma background are there. You will see very rarely the non-pharma people, but in any other departments like intellectual property, which is abbreviated as IP, or analytical development, regulatory, quality, everywhere you will see a pharma people as well as non-pharma people. But formulation development, non-pharma people is very rare. So other than these 5 departments, quality control, once the product is approved, the quality control department comes into picture, and pharmacokinetic or clinical team, supply chain or procurement team, the manufacturing team, technology transfer or site transfer team, packaging development team, and business development team. These are all the other areas where pharma and non-pharma people can get job opportunities in the pharmaceutical industry. So out of all these departments, more number of people are involved in quality control, analytical development, and the third is formulation development. So in other departments like intellectual property, regulatory, the number of people would be very less. But on these three departments, the number of people is always very high. So now the product development flow. I have put together the product development flow. I just will read all together, then I will go one after other. So starts with the traditional typical literature review, then material and source identification, reference listed drug, brand, innovator characterization, reverse engineering, pre-formulation, prototype development, analytical method development, developmental stability, pilot bioequivalence, QBD, scale up and confirmatory, analytical method validations, cleaning method validations, ANDA or exhibit batch, EB batch manufacturing, pivotal bioequivalence, stability studies or shelf life determination, dossier filing with FDA, pre-approval inspections, PAI by USFDA, then final FDA approval and the product launch. So we'll start with the literature review. So when we start literature review nowadays, everybody gets into Google, just searching in Google. Yes, it is a good tool. Other than that, please use some scientific search engines to have a very good literature. So first thing is patents. So if the patents are still alive, you cannot launch the product till the patent is expired. So with respect to that, what is the filing strategy the generic company is going to make? That decision has to be taken. So first thing is there are four types of filings: paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and paragraph 4. Paragraph 1, there is no patent is existing. In the paragraph 2, the patent was there but expired. In paragraph 3, there is a patent still alive, but that will expire by certain time. For example, if you start development now, target that another 2-3 years you are going to launch the product. By the time patent will expire. So the fourth is the very challenging one. There is a patent that will be for next 10-20 years, but even the patent is alive, you are going to send product for approval of FDA. So that will involve lot of litigations with the legal team. So these are all the different filings that needs to be decided. What kind of filing we are going to make for the generic product. So that will decide the fate of the product. So then check the United States of Pharmacopoeia and National Formulary USPNF, where just follow the methodologies given by them. This will give you an easy approval and process. Then API's drug master file, where the API, the raw material, active ingredient. So you need to understand the stability, solubility, and basic, chemical informations in order to be successful in the product development. Then in the USFDA website, you will find the brand products, approvals, few informations, which is called freedom of information, FOI. You will get those informations from that. Then, of course, the analytical methods like dissolution, assay, and other methods, impurities, etc. Then, in the FDA website, there is a section called Office of Generic Dissolutions, like OGD, that will also give some other important informations during the product development. So these are all few line items I have given in the literature review. But still there are many other items, but these are all some main focus areas when you start the generic product development. Then comes into the material and source identifications. We need to identify, the ease of source. Like if you are developing, the company is located in India, we'll try to identify the raw materials, any materials within India if available. So and also the cost. So the major three items are API, excipients, and the packaging material. So usually in India you will see a lot of blister packaging, but in US all the packages are in the bottle packaging. So seeing the product with the blister package is very less. Then RLD characterization. So before we start any generic product development, just buy the brand product, RLD reference listed drug from the market, and start doing the evaluation. Like what is the weight of the tablet, what shape the tablets are there. What is the strategy of the product? when product has multiple strengths like 10, 20, 30 milligram, how the strategy is designed, like each strength is different, or the common blend is prepared and compressed into different strength, only the weight is varying. So that is called a dose proportionate or localized strategy. So what strategy reference listed is following, what is the disintegration time, and in case of capsules, what size of capsule the innovator has used, and of course the packaging configuration. Is it a blister pack or the bottle? If it is a bottle, what size of bottle? So those informations you will find upfront with the brand product. Then it comes to the reverse engineering. Reverse engineering of the brand product. So when you buy a product along with the leaflet, you will get in the leaflet you will find all the excipients used.
Sir, I'm really sorry to interrupt. Could you please come closer and talk so the voice will not break?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Really, if you have any troubles, please let me know. Otherwise, I can start using my headphone as well. So in the reverse engineering, as I said, the brand product label will have all the excipients listed without its quantities, how much quantity is used, and what kind of particular excipient is used. So then in general names will be given. So this reverse engineering will help you, like how much quantity of particular excipient was used. So quantifying the excipients level in the brand product. And for the APIs, sometimes the stability and other critical parameters, critical quality attributes, what decided by the API polymorphic forms. So that polymorph is determined in the end product, and what particle size of particular API was used. So these are all the few informations upfront we perform by doing some reverse engineering or de-engineering of the brand product. So this will help in turn, to reduce the product development lead time. So we can, of course, without these informations, we can have the generic products developed. That takes a lot of trials. So the faster you develop and the faster you file, uh, the success rate would be very high on the generic product. So the next one is the pre-formulation. So in the pre-formulation, mainly the solubility of the particular API and forced degradation and stability of API is studied, and the API excipient compatibility is studied. Like we use multiple excipients, so each excipient is treated with the API and put on the stability chamber just to see is there any interaction or incompatibilities between the API and excipient. So whatever is not comfortable, so we won't use those excipients. So this study this study helps to decide what excipients need to be used in the formulation. Then the prototype development. So as I said, the innovator or the brand product will have all the labels. Like I have taken one example, which is rosuvastatin calcium. The brand name of the product is Crestor, used to reduce the cholesterol level in the body. So these are all the excipients given in the product leaflet, starting from microcrystalline cellulose, lactose, tribasic phosphate, phosphoidone. So all the excipients are listed in the leaflet without quantities. So first and foremost, we need to decide the strategy. As I said in the literature review section, intellectual property IP strategy needs to what of filing we are going, either paragraph 1, 2, 3, or 4. Mostly 3 and 4. And what is the strategy are we going to follow? Then when I say strategy, so whenever there is a pattern, like in this example I have highlighted in a yellow color. So for this product there is a pattern exists. According to the pattern, you cannot use this yellow colored line item. Basic aspect, which is an alkalinizer used to stabilize the product. If you don't add this tribasic aspect, the rosuvastatin calcium, the API will degrade, and there will be more impurities and leads to shelf life reduction of this particular brand drug. So the R&D innovator has used this tribasic aspect as an alkalinizer. So you cannot use this particular excipient. Not only these excipients, the other alkalinizers closer to this tribasic phosphate is also protected by the patent. So basically, the generic companies will not use this particular excipients. Instead, other excipients which is having the alkalinizer function will be used. So basically, the innovator product will not let you to make easily the generic product. So that is a strategy.
Just the mice, the voice is cracking.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sorry.
Yes, yes, Avinash.
Yeah, the voice is breaking still.
Okay. Let me use.
Use your headphones.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes, yes.
Avinash, is it audible now?
Sir, speak something, sir.
Avinash, is it audible now?
Yes, sir. It is audible now. It is clear now.
Okay. Thank you. So the next prototype development item is the control correspondence. So if you have any query which during development comes to your mind, and you can communicate with USFDA, it's called control correspondence. Then whatever the excipients you are going to use in your product, that has to be within the limit given by the USFDA. That is called inactive ingredient database, IID. So that will give you in the USFDA website. IID will give you the list of excipients, what maximum quantity you can use in the product. So these are all the few items which helps to make the prototype formulation. Then coming to the analytical method development validation. So as long as the generic product you are developing is in the USP enough monograph, we need to follow the same methodologies, testing methodology like dissolution, assay, impurities, etc. So if there is no monograph, you are free to use your own in-house methodologies. If there is a USP monograph, if you don't want to follow, then you need to establish an USP equivalency. Then quality by design approaches in the analytical method development. At present, there is no mandatory requirement from USFDA for this QBD, but many companies started using quality by design approach. Quality by design is a systematic approach for the analytical method development. There is a QBD section as well, which comes at later in the slide. So the dissolution methodologies from the USP are from the USFDA we can find for phosphate. There are two formulations, capsules and oral suspension. So what is the dissolution media, how much it has to be used, what is the dissolution testing time points, everything is given in the website. Then we need to do the method validation or method verification for ACH and USP requirements. And once the methods are validated, then the methods will be transferred to the manufacturing site, to the quality control laboratories. And cleaning method validations. So this is a important line item. Most of the pharmaceutical industry struggles during FDA inspections because of this cleaning method stuff. So we use the same equipment for making multiple products. So when we switch from one product to other product, the instrument has to be cleaned. It's not only the physical visual check. So there has to be some cleaning process. After that, some swabs needs to be taken to make sure that there is no active ingredient is deposited or stick somewhere either in the corner of the particular manufacturing equipment. So this protects from the cross contamination. The next one is the quality by design approach, QBD. So QBD basically is a systematic approach to the pharmaceutical development and manufacturing. So QBD helps make the successful generic product, and also it reduces the unnecessary deviations and rework during the manufacturing, and also you can make a robust product. So QBD is basically but there are many elements in QBD, so we can have a separate presentation on QBD. This is a very huge topic. So we need to decide what quality target product profiles we are going to set, and what are all the critical quality attributes associated with the particular QTBP. and what type of materials, excipients we are going to use, what is the critical material attributes, and what is the process control, the design space. There are a lot of things in QBD is a very big topic. So basically, this is a systematic approach for the development of this development as well as manufacturing. So this is mandatory from FDA from the last 4 or 5 years. I think from 2013 or 14, this is a mandatory requirement. So once this QBD is finalized, then this everything will happen in a small scale. Then there is a scale up process. So basically, scale up is just increasing the batch size. Instead of making 500,000 tablets, you start doing 1,50,000 tablets. That is a scale up. So once the scale up is successful, then we'll do the confirmatory batches. So once these confirmatory batches are done, the next step is making an exhibit batch or abbreviated new drug application ANDA batches, or we can call it as a submission batches. So in order to manufacture that, minimum 150,000 units has to be manufactured. If you are making a tablet, 150,000, 1,50,000 tablets has to be manufactured. So for each strength, we need to make a 3 lots. Sometimes you can follow the practice strategy. If you have 3 different strengths, the lower and upper strength can have a 3 patches, 3 lots, and the middle strength will have only 1 lot. So that is a practice strategy. And for making the submission batches, minimum we should use 2 lots of the active ingredient. Then it comes to a next critical step is pilot bioequivalence and pivotal bioequivalence. Basically, this is where we differ from NDA. So the pilot study is just for the company's sake. This is need not be submitted to FDA. So before you make any batch, spend a lot of money, just make in small scale and use 6 to 8 healthy human volunteers, very minimal number of volunteers, just to check whether your formulation is going to be bioequivalent or not. This data need not be submitted to FDA. But when it comes to the pivotal bioequivalence, so in the pilot study, in a small scale, a pivotal study is whenever you made a submission batches or exhibit batches, you need to use the particular batch. So here the number of healthy human volunteers will be more, like 12, 24 or 36. So this data has to be submitted to FDA. So based on this only, FDA will make sure that this product will behave similar to the brand product. So when you have a multiple strength, like 10, 20, 30 milligram strength for the particular product, usually it is performed at the higher strength, assuming the strategy is dose proportional. If you have a different formulation, then each strength needs to be studied for the bioequivalence. So when you move a step by step, pilot studies and pivotal studies, always there is a time consuming process. Some companies, in order to launch the product or get this close to product development, they directly go to the pivotal studies. They won't do the pilot studies, but the risk is higher on that side. Then the next is doing an development stability testing. So once the product is manufactured and submission batches are manufactured, the product will go into the stability chamber just to make sure how long the product will be stable, establish a shelf life. So mostly FDA gives the 24-month shelf life expiration. So there are different conditions, accelerated stability conditions and long-term and intermediate. Usually accelerated is passing, no need to do the intermediate. If there is a failure in accelerated stability condition, then we need to do the intermediate stability. That is up to 6 months. Accelerated 6 months, intermediate 12 months, long term should be 24 months. If the packaging design is not similar to RLD, then we need to do some additional studies that is called in-use studies.
Sorry to disturb you again, sir.
So the next step is once everything is done, stability, you got.
Excuse me, sir. Sorry to disturb you again. The voice is still a little bit cracky, sir. I think pulling the mic closer would help.
Okay. So the next step is the dossier filing with FDA. Is it okay now?
It's still like on and off. Sometimes it's good, and then like it goes off after like a couple of minutes.
Okay, I don't know. Sorry, I'm so sorry for that.
I think maybe the mic, if we could adjust a little bit, it should probably.
Yeah.
Gopal sir, it's like when you
Avinash, you have muted yourself.
Yes, Avinash, you were saying something.
when you start to speak, we can hear you, but when you continue
Okay.
to talk, it's going dimmer.
Okay. Let me change. Maybe my internet connection, maybe something is wrong. Maybe let me change my room.
I think the internet connection is fine. So your video is not stopping at all. I think it's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's just
Okay.
that's not
Only the voice.
only the voice is not picking up.
Let me remove the headphone and I will be closer to the laptop so that it is very audible.
Yep.
So the next step is filing the dossier. So once the stability study is completed up to 6 months, then we can file the product with the FDA. So the fees is about $180,000, which is close to 1.25 crores. So once we file this dossier, FDA acknowledges whether the dossier has been received or not. So once it acknowledges, then they will send a separate notification whether they accept this filing or not. If they don't accept, they will send a letter called RTR, which is refuse to receival. So they will say because of these and so and so reasons, we do not accept your dossier. So this is about dossier filing. Then FDA will start reviewing the dossiers. So whatever we submitted, stability studies, bioequivalence studies, the product development, QED, entire things will be in the dossier. So FDA will start reviewing this and they will send us the queries if they have anything in the particular section. So the queries will be in different forms, which is called information request, discipline review, complete response letter. These are all the different terms FDA uses and to communicate to understand more about our product. So once on paper, if they are okay, then they will have an on-site inspection, which is called pre-approval inspection or to the particular R&D and the manufacturing site. So whatever they reviewed in the paper, they will just come and see how systematically the company is functioning. If there is some issues happening, how the company is having a system to make some happen. So once that over, then we are almost closer to the approval of generic product. Here, just I have taken one example just to say some the real event. So I think most of you, if you are familiar with company name called Ranbaxy Laboratories, once it was number one generic product development manufacturing company in India. It was I think located at Haryana, close to near Delhi. Once during the pre-approval in the USFDA inspection, they found a lot of deficiencies. It's not only about the approval, but the whole company. There is no Ranbaxy due to the FDA. Once it was the number one company, then all of a sudden it disappeared. There is no company exists right now. Company is owned by Sun Pharmaceuticals. Now it is running in the name of Sun Pharmaceuticals. So this company, when it was audited by FDA, there is a gentleman who is called Dinesh Thakur, who shared a lot of information to FDA. In US, they call it as a whistleblower. So this whistleblower informed to FDA saying, this company manipulates lot of data. So,
Sir Gopal
yes,
sir,
Ravina.
very sorry to
Same
interrupt
issue?
again. Earlier it was better.
Okay. Let me use headphone.
Please don't mind. Sir.
Let's speak it. Headphones are.
So, Avinash, is it okay?
Sir, it is audible, sir, but it's going off sometimes.
I really don't know. Let me use some other headphones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello,
Sir.
Avinash, do you hear me?
Yeah, but low volume. It's very
Hello, hello.
So can you speak something so that just
When I plug in Avinash, as I said, I don't hear you guys. So please let me know if it is
oh,
audible or
oh,
if
oh.
it's not.
Okay.
So this gentleman informed FDA about, thank you, about the data manipulations happening in the company. So FDA inspected and due to some legal implications, Ranbaxy had to pay $500 million to USFDA. And out of that $500 million, 10% went to this whistleblower, Dinesh Thakur. Currently, he is running his own pharmaceutical company in US. So, a person called Catherine Eben, he has written a book. She has written a book called Bottle of Lies. If you get a chance, just purchase and read this book. This book says, what kind of, manipulations, data integrity, and, are performed by generic pharmaceutical companies, including the Ranbaxy experience. Based on the interview with Dinesh Thakur, she has written this book. This I have put as an example, what not to do in the pharmaceutical companies. So the FDA approval process, as I said, the review process, information request, discipline review, IR, ER, CRL, and they will give, once you file the product, FDA will upfront will give you the goal date. By this date, we will give the decision, either approval or, whatever it is. So that is a transparent system. And also they will give some tentative approvals. If there is a patent still alive, so they will give some tentative approvals uh, till the expiration of the patent. Once the patent is expired, then they will give the final approval. So once you get the final approval, yes, you are good to go and you can launch the product into the market and start getting the profit out of it. So the faster you develop and faster you file and faster you get this approval, the more the profitability. I think that's it. My apologies for the audio quality. I don't know. I could have used this headphone earlier, but nevertheless, thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. And if you have any queries, please feel free to ask me. And I have given my email address. You can reach me out me with any queries. Thank you.
thank
Could
you
you
very
show the
much.
second last slide, please?
Sir, yes, sir.
Sir, thank you very much for your time.
No,
It
second
was a
last.
very valuable piece of information that you shared right now with us. Um, Apart from the features in the voice, the rest, everything, the information what you gave in the presentation was absolutely incredible. Hope this webinar was informative for all of us. Let me just brief it up, summarize it up, so that we can go for any question and answer session. So the audience, the delegates who are present now, if you have any queries, you can just come into the chat box in the Zoom application and you have your queries there. So I can post those queries to the speaker and get them answered right away. Before that, I can summarize it. We just gave the introduction of generic products. What are the generic products, the definitions and the differences between the patented formulations and the generic formulations, and various stages that are involved
A little bit closer.
in the formulation stage, the development stage, the approval stage, etc. And there are also many stages like the formulation development, the IPR, the quality analysis, the regulatory affairs, and the quality assurance. And he has also emphasized the reason for the heavy price of the patented formulations and compared to the generic formulations, as you know. So I think the myths have got busted, considering the prices and the quality of generic formulations. Nevertheless, the generic formulations will compete on the quality with the patented formulations as well, under very less prices. That's because of the regulatory requirements and the FR&D level or the clinical level of the work they put into the development of the formulations. That was mostly the reason. Yeah, we have got a question, sir. How to know the branded product? Do we see RTD market on any website?
Sorry, Avinash, I could not hear you properly.
Yes, Mr. Hemant has asked a question.
Mhm.
How to know branded product? Do we see that in the market or any website?
Even in just Google, or there is a website called RX List. So when you type the drug name, it will appear. For example, oseltamivir phosphate. If you type, then it will give you the generic products as well as the brand product available in the market. How to differentiate between brand and generic? The brand will have a brand name. Like as I said, Tamiflu is the product brand name. For generic product, they will not have any specific names. They will come up with the drug name only, which is, whatever the drug name, it will exist in the particular drug name. So that is the difference.
Thank you, sir. And there are a couple of questions that we have got posted. First one, is your company developing any new drug formulation for corona? So,
Zydus India as doing, the vaccine development as well as some treatment options, but not in US.
Proceeding for the same question, continuing the same question, is there any patent flexibility or regulatory flexibility that is given by the FDA towards the development of the corona drugs? Treatment, I mean,
Yeah.
not vaccines, basically treatment drugs.
So basically, whenever there is a crisis like this COVID-19, and even sometimes in the winter season, the flu will be highest. So FDA gives a list of priority medications. So usually, for example, if the review cycle or the approval process takes about 2 years for a particular generic product. But in this case, either generic or the new drug applications, FDA gives priority. Just they take week or months to approve it quickly. So just to quote an example, Zydus got the approval for hydroxychloroquine HCQ manufacturing, some approval process which happened within a week time. So, depends on the crisis and the priority. So, FDA gives the quicker and faster approvals and review process.
So, another question we have got for the development of generic oral liquid formulations. What about the DSE? To study excipient compatibility. I think this is relevant. If you can answer it.
Yeah. So differential scanning calorimetry instrument can be used just to see, how good or bad. But so this DSE will give you some ideas, but performing in a traditional testing of, impurities, that will, give you the clear picture. Of course, DSE is an helpful, quick tool. So you need not to run, like when you test for the impurities, like when you put API and excipient together, you need to see, is it stable or not? DSC will give some idea. So it is compatible or incompatible. So why it is not incompatible? You will not give more details. But when you do these traditional studies, that will give more details. Of course, yes, DSC is useful up to certain extent.
So, next. Can you please share a comment on future of generic product development in India after COVID-19?
Sorry, one more time.
Can you please share your comment on future of generic product development in India after COVID-19?
I don't think there will be any change. It is going to remain same. Maybe the importance of pharmaceutical products or generic products is going to grow more. That is the only thing I can say.
Right, sir. Another one, sir. If there is any problem in future by the using of generic products, I mean, he's asking, are there any health related issues when we use generic products instead of the patented formulations? That was the question, I believe.
If you see my first slide, what and why generics. So FDA looks the brand manufacturing company, patented company, and the generic company the same. Whatever the steps they are taking, from number one to anything, from zero to everything, they look at the same eye in the same view. So I don't see the main comparison between the brand and the generic is the safety and efficacy. So as long as the generic product is safe and efficacious in comparison to the brand product, then only FDA approves. So ideally, even most of the generic players use the same kind of excipients, same packaging technology. So almost it's kind of copy paste work from the brand product, except some challenges in between with respect to patent and other stuff. So it is going to be the same. So I have never seen any health issues with respect to only generic, but that is not associated with brand. So in short, there will be no issues from generic.
Right. Are there any issues associated with the chronic use of generic drugs in any sort?
So chronic use of drugs will itself have some issues. So it's not about generic or brand. If you use the longest, the use of any particular drug, its associated issues would be there, irrespective of whether it is a brand or the reference. Generic.
Sir, Dr. Ravindra Babu feels it's not a proper answer regarding the difference between generic and branded products. Can you please elaborate the answer?
Sorry, which one, Avinash?
Yeah, the difference between generic and branded products, branded drugs.
The difference between generic and branded products?
Branded drugs, the difference, what you have explained right now, it was not clear for Dr. Ravindra Babu. So can you please elaborate that? Just like it.
So the difference between generic and brand product with respect to safety or in general?
Yeah, with respect to safety and quality, I believe that.
Okay. So with respect to safety, FDA looks each and every generic product is safe and efficacious. So without ensuring the safety and efficacious, FDA will not approve any generic product. If once FDA approves, FDA ensured that by reviewing all the dossiers and having on-site inspections, further multiple queries, so they will make sure that the generic products are efficacious and safe. So I don't think generic product will have some additional effects other than brand products. If there are some issues, adverse effects associated with brand product, yes, that will be there with generic product. I don't see any threats from the generic product because that is how FDA views either brand product or generic product.
Right, sir. One interesting question. There are generic products which are available in cheaper prices. There are also third-party manufacturing companies that produces very low-cost formulations compared to the generic. Your view on that? Are they both same considered as generic, or like any sort of difference?
I don't know. Maybe the question is based on the Indian context in India. So I do not have much information about the third-party manufacturing. But in general, whatever, either you manufacture directly or you outsource to the third party and manufacture through the third party, still the requirements are same, and you need to make sure the safety and efficacy is there.
Right, sir. Another one is the development process of generic products is the same for biological products also. Biological drugs like recombinant proteins.
The steps would be almost same, but I don't know really the biological, the steps involved in the biological, but the process would be remain same. We need to compare with the brand product and to establish the safety and safety and efficacy.
Right, sir.
I do not have much information about biotechnology products. So, but the steps would be mostly same with respect to regulatory approval process. But into the development, I am not clear about it.
Okay. There is another one. Why do the brand name medicines look different from the generic versions?
Different with respect to what?
Names.
So names. See,
Medicines, brand name medicines look different from their generic versions.
see, brand name. For example, if Avinash is having his own pharmaceutical company, you make any drug, you put your AVI name into first of that product, and you can just put whatever you want. That is brand name. That is how you are paying more money to get your brand name. You can put Avinash Flu. So whosoever want, you can make that brand product. Generic, you have that option, but of course there are some options in even generic. You can make the brand name that is called branded generics. But again, the cost will go high. So the purpose of your generic product is safe and efficacious to brand, and cost is cheaper. But if you start adding your, brand into that, the cost will go higher.
Right, sir. And another one from my end. Are there any separate rules and regulations for monitoring and approval process of the generics compared to the patented formulations in the into the market, especially in the US market?
No, I did not quite understand your question, Avinash.
Are there any differences between the rules and regulations in the approval process and in the marketing process of generic drugs compared to the patented formulations?
No, with respect to the approval, manufacturing and approval, everything, FDA looks at the same eye, at the same standard. There is no changes at all. Only thing is, generic product manufacturer will submit the bioequivalence studies instead of NDA, where they will submit the animal safety, clinical and bio studies. So that is the difference. Other than that, every data would remain same. Even FDA would look into the same eye with respect to manufacturing and approvals. And with respect to marketing, yes, it depends on what kind of filing you are going. If you are going with paragraph 3 filing, so you will be waiting. For example, the patent is going to expire by 2022. You submit by your dossier in 2020. FDA will start reviewing your product, and they will keep sending some review queries, and everything is okay. They will give you the tentative approval. But on the day of patent expiry, they will give you the final approval. The next day, you can put your product into the market. So that is the difference. But if you are going with the paragraph 4 filing, then you are going to challenge the patent of the innovator. So you will have your own legal team. So they will fight with the brand product legal team. So that is a huge challenge. But many Indian companies got success in paragraph 4. Even sometimes the brand manufacturer looks or predict they are going to lose on this patent challenge with the legal team. So they will come to a deal with you saying that, you manufacture generic and we jointly will do that. So, they will share the market revenue. There are few things which is followed by the brand companies. So with respect to marketing and approval, the strategies are slightly different.
So last, final one. What are your suggestions for? No, before that, we have another question. Are the clinical trials done by the parent company or FDA or any third-party company that is hired by the FDA? in the approval process, I believe.
Okay, so when you make a generic product, as I said, we generally do not call it as a clinical trial, but we call it as a bioequivalence. So that should be done by the generic manufacturing company, either in-house. If you have your own clinical facility, you can do it, or else outsource it to the clinical companies. They will do on behalf of you. So that data will go to FDA. So FDA will review the clinical studies. They will have an on-site inspection even on the clinical side. So that is the requirement. It depends.
Is there
If you have your own facility, you can do it.
is there any chances of tampering the data?
Yes, there are a lot of chances. I think I have an example. GSK had some clinical facility in Hyderabad, in few other locations as well. Since due to some data integrity issues, I think the company is not running right now, or at least I am aware. Many companies, they outsource their studies to GSK, not GSK. The airport in Hyderabad is done by some company. What is that? Do you remember any? GBK. So that company had a lot of issues. So many pharmaceutical companies who outsource the studies with them, they had to redo the studies with the different company. So yes, sometimes it happens.
What are your views for the Indian companies entering into the US markets in terms
There
of
are
generic?
there are a lot of pharmaceutical companies. Most of the Indian pharmaceutical companies works for US market. So many companies who got success, even some very recent startup companies as well. So it's critical for if you are identifying the generic product, understand the business model, and you will be successful. There are a lot of Indian pharmaceutical companies who makes generic products for US market. If there are already multiple players for the particular brand product, then definitely it is not that much viable. But it's critical role to identify the product. If you identify the right product, yes, you are on top of the business.
And we are towards the end of the session. Okay, these are all the questions posted. Nothing more. Yes, that is it, sir. That is it. I thank you very much for contributing the valuable time from your end. And on behalf of Rao's College of Pharmacy, I sincerely thank you very much for your time. You have enlightened us with your knowledge on generic product development and their approval stages, development stages, quality assurance stages, and till entering into the market. I thank our chairman sir and director sir for providing the infrastructure for making this webinar possible, and I thank sincerely our principal sir, Gunshekaran sir, for motivating us towards this. And I heartfully thank all of the delegates who have attended this webinar and patiently listened to the speaker and posted your questions. I think all the questions have were answered properly. And if there are any other questions that you want to ask the speaker, you may mail him directly, or you may mail to the college. So the questions, we will make sure the questions will be posted to him and get them answered back. And there is a feedback form coming right now in the chat box. Kindly go through that, and if you fill the form, you will get e-certificate after filling the form. And yes, the validity of the form is just 24 hours. Before 24 hours, you are supposed to fill the form and get an e-certificate. Are there any other things that you want to ask us? Anyone from the delegates? Are we all clear on this? Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Avinash. And once again, my apologies for the audio quality. And if there is a need, I can have a different presentation on a different day. That should not be an issue.
We're looking for more collaboration, sir. That is fine.
Surely, and really thank Chairman sir for joining on this call. I think I have given in the last 1 month time 2-3 webinars to different colleges. I think first time I'm seeing a chairman on the webinar. That shows how interest.
It's quite
How
supportive.
this is
Very
professional activities.
Thank you, Dr. Rajgopal. Thank you so much.
Sir, Director, sir, you have anything to say on this?
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajgopal sir, for being here today with us. I think as a person who didn't have any knowledge on generic drugs or anything, I just take the tablet that I get in my hand. But today I think I've learned a lot. And at the same time, those candidates, everybody who's been on board here with us, thank you for coming here. And especially our principal sir, Gunashekar sir, and Avinash sir, and the whole faculty members for bringing this together and making this such a successful webinar. Thank you so much. And thank you for enlightening us with a lot of the FDA process and what you have been working on. Having you, who's been such a prolific profile here today, is an honor for us and a privilege to us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a pleasant evening. Bye bye.
Good evening, all of you, and good day.